Great. So welcome everybody to our online talk with Yufan Lu and Iris Sikking. And I'm very happy that we are all here together and that you attend this talk. Yes, so Yufan Lu is one of our artists of the Biennale 2022, curated by Iris Sikking. And the theme of the Biennale 22 is From Where I Stand. And Yufan Lu's work is shown in the Wilhelm Hack Museum. And you can see it until the 22nd of May here in Ludwigshafen in the Wilhelm Hack Museum. And it's called Make Me Beautiful. So I'm very curious what you can tell us about this work and what will Iris tell us about the overall theme of the Biennale and of course of shaping data, which is shown in Wilhelm Hack Museum. And I'm very thankful to the Confucius Institute, which made this all happen. And I'm very happy to welcome Heidi Marwig as well to our talk. And I hand over to her and then to Iris. So thank you again for being here and have fun.
Thank you very much, Jasmin Meinecke, for your warm words. Good evening. On behalf of Confucius Institute Heidelberg, as cooperation partner of Biennale für aktuelle Fotografie, I also would like to welcome all of you again to our tonight's artist talk with Yufan Lu and Iris Sikking, which is our second one after the one in the beginning of April. It's a pleasure to have you, Iris Sikking, again here tonight, and you, Yufan Lu, for this special evening, even though it is rather late in China now. Last time, or in the last artist talk, I promised I would be brief, and so do I tonight, believe me. Because all of us are curious to know and to learn from the talk to come between artist and curator, and to participate in our virtual tour. In fact, we are looking forward to seeing the artist's work, Make Me Beautiful, shown at, as said, shown at Wilhelm Hack Museum in Ludwigshafen. But please let me say only a few more words. I once again would like to thank the whole Biennale team for the pleasant cooperation, and of course, many thanks again to Iris Sikking and many thanks to Yufan Lu. And now, as last time, I just say, let's start.
And that's my call.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much, Jasmin Meinecke, for the introduction, and Heidi Marwig for your introduction from the Confucius Institute. And a warm, very, very warm welcome to Yufan Lu, who's indeed here with us from Tianjin in China. It's indeed midnight now, and here in Amsterdam, where I am, it's about 6 o'clock in the evening. And welcome audiences, of course. And please know that if you have any questions during this, the presentation of Yufan, during our conversation, then please put them in the chat, and Verena of the Biennale will get them to me. Because I think it's always worth a lot if there's questions from the audience. So first I will do a very small introduction of the Biennale voor Actuele Fotografie, which is indeed still on for a few weeks in 6 museums in Mannheim, Ludwigshafen and Heidelberg. And for this year, I was invited as a guest curator. I chose the theme From Where I Stand, which is about the point of view of many people that are worried, committed to certain huge issues our world is facing today. And that sounds very wide, and it is, but that's possible because we have the scale of the Biennale of 6 huge exhibitions. So in the end, I selected 35 positions, which is in total 40 artists, 35 projects. And I from where I stand is, let's say, the viewpoints of the artists themselves, of the people who were in the photographs, or the people that were people like you and me were seeing the projects, or my point of view. And all the projects talk in one way or the other about the relationship between man, nature, and technology. Of course, the relationship between man and nature is in quite a precarious state due to the intense human activity. We are living, as we all know, in a very technified society in which we constantly strive for optimization of our body, of our mind, but also of our environment. So also this relation between nature and technology is touched upon. And I think that all these relations between the three big ones, let's say man, nature, and technology, and how precarious that is, and how we need to rebalance it, has become even more clear through the global pandemic. And it's not a surprise this theme has been developed during the last 2 years. So what I try to do with the Biennale 22 is to invite the public to reimagine the entangled relationship between humans, nature, and technology. I usually like to select those artist practices which are really research-based, and which that I mean that artists commit themselves over a longer period of time to the subject, to the topic they've chosen. That artists are very much aware of their own position, and that they also unfold in the project their own perspective from where they are looking from to the topic. I have quite an interest in a collaborative attitude. So, and also to give space, of course, for underrepresented individuals and views that we don't see in the bigger news. I already mentioned this multi-perspective views, of course, to create stories, and to create stories in which we can look from different point of views to an event or to something that is going on or that is happening. Because I believe that those stories, those photographic stories, can produce a certain kind of knowledge and can also let us experience something. And that is, of course, why there are exhibitions. And I like it a lot when artists, of course, most of the artists are based and grounded in photography. That's their main medium. But they also use a lot of other media that are closely related to photography, which in some cases increases the experiences of the work on the exhibition floor. And yeah, some questions that come along in the different exhibitions is, of course, in relation to the title. From where I stand is the question, what do we fight for? For what do we go on the streets? For what do we protest? What do we try to change in our life? But also questions like, what is the value of nature? What kind of landscape do we want to preserve? How do we challenge stereotypes and allow for alternative views? How much technology do we allow in our body? And that is, of course, the main question for the exhibition Shaping Data. In what kind of society do we want to live? And I think a very important one is who carries us and what do we care for? I already, I mentioned the title Shaping Data, because that is the exhibition of which Yufan Lu's work Make Me Beautiful is part. And in Shaping Data, I have selected 8 artist positions, and they all question the relation between human and technology. And I think they mainly deal with what is the digital world doing to us? You know, how does it change our behavior? What kind of impact has it on our opinions? How do we experience the digital world that is kind of behind our screen, but it comes quite close? It interferes with our lives in many, many ways, like having the mobile phone, and is it still something that is somewhere else laying on the table next to us like mine now, or is it actually already a genuine part of our life, our physical body? So Shaping Data is about how the digital shapes our bodies and our beliefs and our understanding of something, because we think we are in control of what is happening in the digital world, we leave our digital traces, we leave all kind of data, and then actually it is swapped around, and the digital world, everything that is happening in this quite world that we cannot touch, is actually shaping our behavior and opinions further. After this introduction, I go to Yufan Lu because I like to introduce you. Yufan Lu is a Chinese photographer. You live and work, and you live and work in Tianjin and Beijing in China. You have achieved a Bachelor in International Journalism and Communication at the Beijing Foreign Studies University. And you obtained a master degree at the Goldsmiths University in 2017 in London in photography and urban cultures. You've also been a participant at the Joop Zwarte Masterclass of the World Press Photo Organization, and you took part in the Magnum Foundation expanded mentorship program in the last few years. Her work is grounded in extensive sociological research, and Yufan Lu has a genuine interest in the therapeutic function of using her own body in front of the camera. And I think about that aspect we will certainly talk because this is key in your project, Make Me Beautiful. So because before I will tell too many things about Make Me Beautiful, I would like to ask you, Yufan Lu, to introduce the project, and then afterwards we go into a conversation.
Thank you, Iris, for your introduction, and thank you, Yasmin and Heidi, for inviting me here today. I'm going to talk about my work, Make Me Beautiful, and now I'm going to share my screen.
Yes, I can see your screen, Yufan.
Okay.
Great, go ahead.
So today I'm going to talk about Make Me Beautiful, a work that I started doing since 2018. So as you can see, this picture is me, is a self-portrait of me. And the lines and characters on my face are diagnoses written by doctors and beauty consultants at cosmetic surgery clinics. So starting from 2018, I brought my portrait to over 30 cosmetic surgery clinics in China, and also one in Seoul in South Korea, to let the doctors or beauty consultants to comment on my problems, give their surgery solutions, and write their diagnosis and plans on the portraits. The work started from my impulse to see how the clinics would comment on my look. But it's also more than an impulse, because beauty has long been a problem that bothered me. As a teenager in China in early 2000s, I grew up in an environment where the social beauty standards are pretty much strengthened. This was partly the result of the developing mass media in China, and also because of China's more market-oriented economy. So during that time, people tend to pay more attention to appearance, but also at the same time, we don't really have a very diverse beauty standards. So I grew up receiving quite a lot of harsh comments on my look, and many people I know went for cosmetic surgery after they graduated from high school. It was when the cosmetic surgery industry in China were booming. There were increasing cosmetic surgery advertisements that can be seen on TV, on the internet, and also on the streets. There was even a variety show in China that asked ordinary people to compete their before and after face, their face before and after surgery. And of course, later, the show was taken down by the authority. And as you can see, there are actually quite similar diagnoses from these images. So to summarize these diagnoses a little bit, I need bigger eyes, wider double eyelids, a taller and smaller nose, a longer jaw, and brighter skin. I also need to remove the wrinkles on my forehead, inject hyaluronic acid in the temple part and the forehead part, and also remove the fat in my cheeks. So there are a lot of changes that I need to make according to the doctors. And to be honest, it was not that surprising to hear these comments because maybe because because these diagnoses are only a strengthened version of the comments I've been hearing from peers, from relatives, and from strangers when I was growing up. These comments have already long been internalized in myself and accompanied me, well, every time I look into a mirror. But I'm also aware that it's still a very different to actually undergo cosmetic surgeries to really become beautiful. I want to understand how the cosmetic surgery industry works, what people go through when they're taking cosmetic surgery in China, and also the beauty norms in China and the resulting recognition of oneself. I was also curious about how I will recognize myself after putting myself repeatedly under these harsh comments about my look. So some of the diagnoses went with the judgments on my personality and fate as well. For example, a doctor said I look too unfriendly, and that's because my eyelids are too down. And another doctor asked me if I'm having bad luck in romantic relationship. And the reason he asked this is that my temples are sunken, and temples represent husband and wife relationship in face reading. And later I learned that there's actually a set of communication script used in the cosmetic surgery industry so as to lure people to do cosmetic surgery. So you can see this one is different from the ones, the portraits that we see before, because this one is actually from a face reader. It's the judgments he writes about my look. So I think from the content that I introduced about, you can actually sense a strong commercial atmosphere in the cosmetic surgery industry. Although the problems that different doctors pointed out are more or less the same, when it comes to solutions, they are actually offering me choice. I can choose from the styles of face I'd like to have. For example, this one is pure and innocent style. And this one is internet celebrity style. This is high fashion style, which is the kind of face that top models usually have. This one is anego style. So anego is a word coming from Japan, which means powerful women. And this one is idol group style. And when I did the project, it was a time when idol groups are pretty popular in China. So these options makes me feel like that I was choosing from a shelf in a shopping mall. And while some doctors are moral enough to tell me that I can only make myself beautiful to a certain extent based on my original quality, some doctors also suggested that I can become anything I like, as long as I do enough surgeries. So to me, the beauty consultants or doctors are not only medical workers, but also salespeople. They have a set of design script, and with this script, they could quickly master the economic ability and offer you the plans you can afford, even if some plans are pretty risky. So the mix of medical and commercial is a character of the cosmetic surgery industry that has deeply intrigued me. It is, on the one hand, delivering a very hygienic image, and the doctors and beauty consultants dominate the relationship with the patients because of their professional knowledge. And on the other hand, it is also a profit-driven business. And this mix is also shown in the landscape of the clinics. So these are the photos I took in the waiting room of the cosmetic surgery clinics. So you can see in this photo that I was asked to do a free skin test using the clinic's professional machine. And each of the 8 pictures show a different aspect of my skin. And I was diagnosed a lot of serious skin problems. So these are the tools that are used to measure a person's face. This is a staircase in a cosmetic surgery clinic. It has a nickname, Time Tunnel. This is an 18-year-old girl I photographed 3 days after she had eye surgery and a week after her nose surgery. Here's another part of the work that I like to introduce is cutout portraits. I found pre-surgery photos that are published on cosmetic surgery portal websites. And these photos are usually going along with cosmetic surgery diary written in the first-person perspective. The diaries show the people before, in the middle, and after the surgery. They all sounded very positive and suggested the huge change in their life, in a good direction, of course, because of the surgery. And I was instantly drawn by the richness of the pre-surgery faces. Although these photos were taken by the clinics, usually right before the people entered the operation room as a cold medical evidence, they suggest so many more complex emotions to me. I can see hope, insecurity, determination, confusion, farewell, secret in these photos. And these photos also remind me of photography itself. The moment when they're being made suggests the moments that are already gone and lost. So I feel deeply connected with these photos. And that's why I removed the watermarks the website has added on these photos to return to their original look. And afterwards, because I also want to reflect the pains that these people were about to go through, and also the same insecurity about appearance after the surgery. So I made some cutouts on the portraits while trying to keep their original look. The photos are also combined with my own handwritten text. The content are partly drawn from the real thoughts about beauty from people who have undergone cosmetic surgery. And another part of text are the content which looks like people's thoughts, but are actually marketing materials written by the clinics. So in the end, I want to go back to my original intention of doing an experiment with the project, that I want to see how I will recognize myself after going through the diagnosis. I found out that instead of feeling worse about myself, the project has unexpectedly developed into a kind of therapy for me. And I think maybe this is the major part that differentiates my work from the real cosmetic surgery experience. Because in this project, I'm the photographer and also the subject at the same time. I feel it's like I separated the part of me that is unconfident about my look from the part of me who observes my struggle with the beauty norms in a distance. And when I look into the mirror now, I feel like I'm looking at myself from the two perspectives at the same time. And it helps me to be less obsessed with the existing internalization of beauty standards. So the process of creating this work has deepened my interest in the mechanisms of production and consumption of images in our daily life, therapeutic photography, and also the relationship between portrait and a person's identity. So this is a brief introduction of my work. Thank you.
Thank you, Yufan Lu, for the wonderful introduction and very strong. Yes, thank you. I want to go into a conversation with you. I have a couple of questions, and I'm going to share my screen so we can see the actual exhibition. And I'm so sorry that you won't be able to join us at a certain point. The Biennale 22 made a virtual tour of all the exhibitions. So it's available on their website. So you can actually see all the projects. And we go indeed, of course, to Ludwigshafen, to the William Heck Museum, to the exhibition Shaping Data, where your work is. We'll just do and then we will move to your work so that we can see it and then discuss it further. Let me see. Yeah, let me first go to this wall. I hope that it's okay, as everyone can see it, I hope. Yeah, I see some people nodding. That's good. I first have a question about the title, Make Me Beautiful. Because on the one hand, Make Me Beautiful sounds like a call for hope, which you also mentioned when you showed the cutouts portraits. But it could also be like an order, like make me beautiful. Someone has to make me beautiful. And he or she should be able to do that for me, let's say. So it sounds very determined. Another thing I already heard you mentioned. So it's hope, it's determination. But your whole project, as we have exhibited it now, has a very soft touch. Because you do not condemn the people who undergo cosmetic surgery, nor the clinics or that offer the operation or the industry at large. So could you tell us how you came about the title, Make Me Beautiful?
So the title actually comes from a news article. The moment I saw it, I was very impressed by it because I think it's very catchy and straightforwardly speaks of our desire to become beautiful. And I think you are also right about the feelings about hope and determination expressed by the title. And it's very interesting that you talk about order, because the word order gives me an impression of obsession. And I think this is also the state of mind that is often found in people who seeks beauty cosmetic surgery.
Yeah, so this obsession that you already mentioned in your talk and the desire, of course, are also informing the title, Make Me Beautiful. What you already explained a little bit about these self-portraits in your presentation. but could you give us a bit of more background information as how you came to these portraits? Was it something like when you start the project, you thought, okay, I should be part of the project and I'm going to show what the diagnosis, what the doctors tell me and present it this way? Or was it something that you explored while working on the project and that this was the outcome?
To be honest, this is the original idea.
Okay.
So in the beginning, it really didn't have the other two parts, the landscape part or the cutout parts. In the beginning, I just wanted to use my portrait, which is taken in a very objective and medical way, and then bring them to different doctors and have them as my collaborators to draw, write on these photos. So it was a pretty original idea, at the starting point.
Yeah, but still, when you start the project, I mean, what was the starting point for you for the project then?
I can say that I started working on the project in 2018, but the starting point actually dates back long ago when I was young, when I was a teenager, because I've always been bothered by my appearance, maybe partly because of the image we receive from mass media and partly because of the comments I receive from people around me. So I think these are the representations or, how the beauty norms are displayed in our daily life.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I find it quite brave that you think about this plan, that you use your own portrait to go to the doctors. They they have their judgment, let's say, their opinions, and that you present it to us, to an audience. So were there moments that you were in doubt about this method and this idea?
It's maybe because I was determined to work on a photography project instead of trying to, as every other beauty seekers who try to make themselves beautiful through the cosmetic surgery. So I was starting out this process from a different angle, and maybe that's what keeps me going in this route, because I also think it's very brave for a lot of people to undergo cosmetic surgery, because their way of researching about the surgery they're about to take are similar to my process of working on this project. They go to different clinics, they go to different consultants, and they also research about different doctors and clinics online. And they are fully aware of the risks of this surgery. And sometimes they even need to get loans to do a surgery to become beautiful. So I think it's very brave for them to do the surgery, even knowing these possible risks. And I think showing my picture in the public is not as brave as these people who actually do the surgery.
Okay, that's an interesting thing, indeed, an interesting parallel that you draw there. I think what I mean is, that you put yourself in the center of this. That's the point that I find brave, to use yourself as a research object, and then you are the subjects, you are the photographer, you are the audiences, you are looking at it. So were there moments then in making during the project that the division, let's say, in the three parts, being photographer, the subject, and looking at what is happening, that the borders blurred and that it became difficult for you maybe to continue and to make decisions, because who are you then? Are you the subject? Are you the photographer? Are you in the lead?
I think this is a very interesting question, because it is also what I've been thinking about throughout the work. And I think I was aware of the three different roles involved in self-portraits. And I think for this topic about cosmetic surgery, I deliberately mix these three roles. I deliberately blur the border between these three roles, because I think photographers usually dominate the relationship between themselves and the subjects. And this power relationship reminds me of the power relationship between doctor and patients. And I don't really want to be in the position of the gazer in this case. And making myself the subject is also my way to feel empathetic with the people who actually do the cosmetic surgery, and a way for me to better feel the sensitivities involved in this issue. And I also think that obsession with physical beauty is a self-objectification of ourselves. So I think taking self-portrait is a very loyal reflection of this situation. And when you talk about which role will be in the front, I think I just go with the flow during the creative process. And also besides these three roles, there's also another role involved, another person, I think role involved in this process is who are the beauty consultants, the doctors, because a part of the work is also a collaboration with them. They're also part of the process, image making process. And they have an active part in this. So maybe sometimes they are the decision makers.
That's an interesting one. Yeah, it would be for me interesting then to go first, maybe go to this image, because you mentioned that it is from a face reader. And I always kind of understand it's from a face reader, but it's a doctor's note. So it's someone reading your face. But when you just mentioned it in your presentation, I was, do you mean a machine? A machine that read your face? Can you tell me a little bit more about it? About the red one?
When I first started working on this project, apart from going to the cosmetic surgery clinics, I also went to a face reader in Beijing to ask him to read my face. Because in China, there are some people who actually go to cosmetic surgery because they want to have a better fortune.
Okay, now I got a better understanding of it. And let me see if I can zoom into this image a little bit further, because I think it's a really strong image, especially because it tunes in with what you were saying about the bravery of the girls who undergo cosmetic surgery. So the champion is on the shirt. And I was just wondering, can you elaborate a bit on this image?
So this image is also a self-portrait. The title of this photo is Obsession. I want to show how people are obsessed with the beauty standards and apply this obsession in their daily life. And the band on the head and the band on the legs are the tools that are sold on the internet, which are believed to have the effect of making making a person beautiful. The headband is supposed to make your face look smaller, and even make you look happier. And the leg band are supposed to make your legs more slimmer. And the food on the table and medicine on the table are also believed to have the effect of making you beautiful. So these are the process we tend to go through before the cosmetic surgery. And I just think I want to show this image of obsession with the idea of obsession with this image.
Yeah, just go turn around. Let's first go to these, because we put here the different styles that you showed us in your presentation. Yeah, so the styles are actually how does this work? Are the styles informed by what is happening on social media, or is it how does the circle go around? Is it that a girl comes in, like I want to be like a model, or and then she can pick the style that is now on the right, or how does it actually work? And also the fact that somewhere you mentioned in I think an interview that I read with you, you can actually pick a style from the shelf. So on the one hand, it's very personal, like, okay, this has to be done, this has to be done, all these different things, and they are different, I guess, with whatever, with the different faces, of course. But then it's also about the style that one can choose. Yeah, can you tell a little bit more about that and the idea of picking things from the shelf, like a certain kind of what is it? These things, I've got the name, or a certain kind of nose. I
think these styles are relevant with social media, which is part of the mass media. I think our beauty norms are being hugely affected by what we see and the information we receive every day. And I think especially nowadays, when you are posting an image on the internet, you usually take a photo with beauty cams, which have cameras that can make your eyes bigger, your face smaller, your skin whiter, which keeps strengthening the existing single beauty standard. So I don't know which comes first, but I think maybe it's escalating, because when there are a lot of people consulting at the clinics about these kind of faces, maybe they summarize a pattern, and then they sense the trend in the society, and then, like, doing a marketing campaign, they in turn promote these kind of faces to their customers. And the 18-year-old girl that I photographed, that I talked about just now, she told me she wanted to become an internet celebrity, and she wanted to make money from it. And so in this sense, she is actually seeking to make herself into the internet celebrity style. I also know there are companies who run, who specially run internet celebrities. They actually have a process of recruiting ordinary people, and then make them go through this cosmetic surgery process to eventually make them into to make their face into a proper internet celebrity face. And the feeling of picking a product from the shelf, because they only offer me a limited number of choices, and it's really the same to me as going to a shopping mall, because it seems like you have a lot of choices, but do you really have a choice? So
that's indeed the question. Do you really have a choice? I mean, at the one hand, it's kind of based on what is there, you know, what is there in each individual already. But on the other hand, it's like applying a trend, you know, or some things that are already made, let's say, already made fit. And it's also raising the question, like, for example, the internet celebrity style or the idol star. In about 5 years, that trend is over. And what then? Do you then do another surgery? I mean, another cosmetic surgery? How does that work?
Yeah.
How would that work?
Yes, because it's mostly not reversible. So I don't really know in 5 years when the trends change, how will these people react to these trends? But I've also went to some clinics who, because actually scientifically, I can't really change into anything I like, because I have my own skeletons, and I can only become beautiful based on my own quality. But some clinics will tell you that they can make you into anything you like, as long as you have enough numbers of surgeries. And maybe
and enough money.
Yes, and even though some people, they have these questions about trends, and when they go to clinics, they talk to the doctors, and when the doctors they believe were professional tell them that we can make you into anything and we can change your face even if the trends change, maybe they'll believe in them. And because they're already skeptical about their appearance, and they're already in a very vulnerable status, and it's very easy for them to listen to the professionals.
Yeah, and the desire and then the obsession is really strong. Yeah.
Yes.
And this girl indeed that you already talked about, are you still in contact with her?
We're still friends on social media. And I can, because she told me she wanted to be an internet celebrity. I don't know, because that was before COVID, and I don't know if this has affected her plan. But I can still see her posting her pictures and her portraits on a daily basis. And I think she did more surgery afterwards, because she has become a different person again from this photo.
Hey, and yeah, it's only 4 years ago that you started the project, so maybe that's too well. No, I'm still going to ask a question. How do you see this in the future? Will this trend of all the young girls, you're especially focused on the young girls, on the 18 years old, 20 years old, that do this cosmetic surgery because they think that it will also help them to get a proper job, to marry in a good family, things like that, to really improve their lives, not only their appearances, but also their life. And do you see that it's getting that's increasing, or is there anything that you see that it's in a new generation? But that's why I was thinking, it's only 4 years ago that you started the project, so we are probably in the middle of the developments. But is there a counter development? Maybe that's my question. Are there also girls of that age who say, I'm not going to do this? Or is that, how can I, is that a small group? Is that happening at all?
I think maybe it's not really depending on generation. I think in every generation there are people who are more subject to the beauty norms, and some people who have always been sticking with the idea of not changing their appearance no matter what. I think that the trend I can see is that the younger generations, they have a more open attitude towards cosmetic surgery. They are more willing to admit it. They're more willing to discuss with their friends, and friends are also more willing to accept the fact that their friends go through cosmetic surgery. And I think the cosmetic surgery have increasingly stopped being a social stigma. Yes.
Okay.
And
okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I thought you wanted to add something. I think I'm very curious if there are questions from others. Are there questions in the chat already, or is there? Because I think we have about a couple of minutes, so it would be good to. Yeah, Yasmin.
Yes, I was curious because you said, for example, this internet star. I mean, and we have all the possibilities to work with filters and so on. So would be somehow a bit the question: don't you or don't the people trust technologies, because it somehow wouldn't be necessary to really have an operation to change your look, because you can do that with all the technical devices you have on your camera devices. So yeah, that would be one question. Do you can judge about this, or yeah, or do you think the influence of the physical life is still so strong that they want to change it completely?
I think it's a very interesting question, because I actually sometimes think if the filters can change our looks, if we spend most of our time online, then what is the need of changing our appearance physically? But I think maybe desire is a good explanation of this, of why they still choose to go to cosmetic surgery clinics, because you are being insatiable about just looking beautiful online. Maybe you want to look beautiful offline too. And the problem is that this kind of filters, they actually change how we perceive ourselves. We tend to believe that the filtered looks are the actual ourselves, and we tend to increasingly become intolerable about our real looks. And this is a problem that I think is increasingly affecting our beauty perception.
Yeah, because that is then becoming a vicious circle, because then you improve yourself, your presence online, so you want to have that in the physical world as well, and then it continues, and there's then still huge need for cosmetic surgery indeed. Hey, I just want, is there any other question in the chat? No? Okay. Oh, there's one more from Yasmin, of course, go ahead.
Yes, there's only one small question, because you mentioned that this powerful woman drawer, so to say, that you can pick from the shelf would also be an influence from Japan. So I also wondered, and you showed also some, I think, images of the interior of the waiting room. And you also saw like white people. So I was wondering what influence does this, different cultural backgrounds do have on this whole industry?
I think there is a difference I think the cultural backgrounds matter greatly to the industry, because different culture have different beauty norms. For example, the Chinese people usually don't prefer thicker lips, but I think a lot of Americans, they prefer that kind of style, and the anago style. The word anago comes from Japan, which means powerful woman. I don't really find a very appropriate English translation to that word, but I think it's a word coming from animation, the ACG industry. So it's more used by the younger generations in China, and the anago style actually comes from I think the aesthetic of the female stars who send out this public image that they are very independent, they are very strong, they can make money on their own, and they don't have to depend on any, they don't have to marry into any rich family. And this kind of I'm being strong message is also being passed on to the younger generation. And some people, they tend to link you know, the appearance, these female stars' appearance with their attitude.
Okay, thank you for this explanation. That's just not a question in the chat, but a very nice and warm compliment from Samuel. My congratulations on the project, concept art and investigative art in one. He admires your commitment and what you endured to make this project. So I want to give that as to you. And I also think that is a very nice way to close this session. And I want to thank you very much for giving these much deeper insights on your project. Your show is wonderful. People spend time there. They immediately start to discuss with each other, you know, on the basis of what you give them. It works really well. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for this talk. And thank you, Heidi from the Confucius and Jasmin Meineke from the Biennale to make it all happen.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes. And I also like to have the last little piece of your attention to thank again Yufan Lu and Iris Sikking and Heidi Marwicke, of course, and the Confucius Institute. And if you want to go on finding out more about the Biennale and the subjects, you can always check out our website. And we have our next online talk on the 9th of May. And it's part of our series about sustainability and photography. And Iris Sikking invited Sylvie Crespo and Małgorzata Stankiewicz to talk about their sustainable way of working as artists. So yeah, you're very welcome to join this talk. And yes, and now I wish you all a very nice evening, and thank you, Yufan, to stay awake so long for us and for this very great presentation. Thanks.
Thank you.
So goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, everyone, and thank you, Yufan Lu.
Thank you and bye.